Hi crafters, I'm Bernadette and I wanted to share with you one of those aha moments that we sometimes have in life. Mine came while I was crafting. I can't believe that I've been a rubber stamper, paper crafter for, well, let's see, over 15 years now, but I have never made a pinwheel card, and I'm referring to a pinwheel card as they call it on your Cricut wildcard cartridge. It can be found on page 51. I was just perusing YouTube, saw a video for one, and was like, wow, I've never looked at that card, that page twice. And some of you may call this a spinner card, or they call it a pinwheel on the cartridge. It's very simple. I'm not going to go over the cuts or anything because literally I walked up from my computer over to the Cricut and did it. But I watched a few more videos, and then also working with the cartridge, I found a couple tips that I thought I would go over. So this is a video about tips and ideas when you're working with your wildcard cartridge on page 51 for the pinwheel card. Let's get started. So here we have the very first card that I made. I randomly selected a size on the dial. I just said 5 inches. And it gave me a really nice size, and this is the envelope that I made, and I'm a big fan of recycling envelopes, and so isn't this cute? It was a dog theme, so that worked out great. And 5 inches was plenty to cut on a 12 by 12 piece of paper for the envelope as well. So here's one thing I noticed when listening to a lot of other people's videos is about with a wildcard cartridge. Once you've selected the size for the card that you've made, all the other feature keys, whether it's a frame or a liner or layer or what have you, they all need to be cut at the same inches. So for example, I cut this frame here for the window right here at 5 inches. Now it's obviously much smaller, but it's because they're all proportionately sized for each other, so you don't need to worry about real dial size on or off. Just find the card that you like and cut everything else out at the same inches. You don't have to mess around with that. Now I did do like most people did, and I used the blackout feature because the regular one has all these little Swiss cheese holes in it, and I really didn't need that. So blackout feature, 5 inches, and what that gave me was a card that was 5 inches in vertical height and 7 1/4 total. And the pinwheel, or the circle right here, was 3 1/2 inches, and the window that we have where we can place our images was a 1 inch window. First thing to really consider is how are you going to find just the right way to place an image in this window. You can make this a random image and it doesn't matter, or you can really try to do as I've tried to do here, which is center them. And I saw several different ways, and you know which one I chose? It was the simplest one overall. Let me take this out for a moment. I actually did take this, put it over the brad, and here I'm going to use this one as a demonstration. I just had that circle in there, and I took a pencil and drew a circle, moved it till I could no longer see it, and the next one came into frame, drew the circle again. Just a regular old number 2 pencil, and then when I was done, I had those 4 circles there, and I could align everything quite easily, and even on a light colored cardstock, it worked out great. Now, that's tip number 1. On your piece of paper, now this is just for illustration purposes, I did not write all of this on my actual pinwheel, but you need to think of each direction and how you're going to orient your image. For example, if this is north, south, east, and west, you want each one facing in that particular direction. So for example, on the top one, my dog's not spoiled, that faces this way. Then you can go ahead and place your second sticker or image or whatever it's going to be, a photo, facing out to the east, or just simply rotate your card each time, because that's what's going to happen there. Now, just a long and story short, I didn't do that. I put everything facing up, so consequently my good dog showed up in the window upside down. I had to unpeel these stickers and restick them, and it was a bigger mess. So tip number 2 is just to think about the orientation that you're going to use when you're actually placing your stickers or your images, your stamped images, your pictures, whatever it is, on your pinwheel. Last but not least, just 2 quick project ideas for you. This is the second card I made. I cut it out a little bit larger, and I really like the idea of something floating in the background as you moved your pinwheel. And so I made this one with bugs, and I actually, my background was cut with the Plant in School book, the grass, so I got those flowers, and I just stamped with Stays On Ink my acetate, colored in the bugs, and made this so that they could spin around. I thought that was just a really cute idea. And then last but not least, now this worked much better before I decided to put this liner in my card. You know, if you just made the card like they show you from the handbook, you're gonna see all this, all the mechanics of your card, and even this panel I put in there before. Well, so I decided I wanted to line it, and this worked great before I lined it, but then I think I got things too tight in here. But instead of cutting a circle for the pinwheel like this one, I went ahead and cut it out, the liner function, when I cut my card, and I just took note of how much, what the diameter was, and I went ahead and cut out a scallop circle. Let's see if I can show. I hope this shows up for you. Gosh, it's probably, yeah, see, I cut out a scallop circle. I actually cut out a little bit different one than this. I wanted them to be sort of smaller scallops. I used my Forever Young cartridge. One of the flowers had a scallop flower on it. But what was really nice, now this was spinning so easily before I decided to put in my liner, but it gives you like a little tab that you can pull down. I put a little acrylic paint on that, so hopefully you can see how that is, and it was actually spinning so great beforehand with just one finger, but it still is a nice option, and I'm definitely going to do this again and just modify my interior so that it turns so nicely. But that's my final little tip for you. Have fun. My wild card cartridge is definitely one of my favorites. If you haven't invested in this, it's so worthwhile. And here are these cards. Thanks everybody else who've posted already. I wouldn't have made this without other YouTubers and crafters who got online. Thanks again.